Welcome to Venture, the world of small business and big ideas. We welcome Yvon Chouinard, founder of Patagonia, to the program. When he started making climbing gear more than 50 years ago, he wasn't really in it for the cash. And to this day, he's managed to be a businessman who cares about the environment first and making money last.
Well, it just kind of snuck up on me that I became a businessman.
He calls himself the reluctant businessman. That might be putting it lightly. Yvon Chouinard says capitalism is to blame for many of the worst aspects of life. And yet, here he is running a wildly successful sporting company worth an estimated $300 million. The founder of Patagonia may be more passionate about extreme sports than running a company, but he is a businessman nonetheless. It's these sports, plus a passion for the natural world, that has given Patagonia its heart. It all started one summer in 1957. Yvon needed stronger rock climbing equipment for his Yosemite ascents. So he borrowed $825 from his parents and taught himself to blacksmith. He used the chicken coop in his parents' backyard as a factory. That's a far cry from his current wind and solar-powered LEED-certified headquarters. But this summit, so to speak, has nothing to do with where he's arrived and everything to do with how he got there. That's his business and life philosophy. He's taken some hard stands in maintaining that mission above corporate growth. For instance, in 1994, he decided to use 100% organic cotton. At the time, that meant it cost the company 50 to 100% more to produce 1/5 of its business. Now, he has Walmart executives knocking on the door for advice. In 1985, he formalized his support of the environment by pledging 10% of pre-tax profits or 1% of sales to grassroots groups. Now, more than 700 businesses and some pretty big names, including Jack Johnson, have joined the cause. Yvon is also not a big fan of holding debt, a preference that, as you might imagine, has come in quite handy these days. And he insists his employees lead balanced lives. On-site daycare, special spots for hybrid cars, and, most importantly, daily surf reports are some reasons he receives more than 900 applications for every job offering. The company continued to take on new waves of business even as the financial markets imploded. Yvon, meantime, doesn't plan on selling out anytime soon. He just doesn't care. But then maybe that's what makes this mountain man so successful.
So, Yvon, thank you so much for joining us today. Mr. Chouinard, it's a pleasure to have you on the program.
Oh, you're welcome.
So I want to get started here kind of talking just about how you ended up where you ended up. Now, I read your business biography here, Let My People Go Surfing. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I saw there was you actually started out by working for your brother's detective agency, spying on Hollywood starlets. Is that right, for Howard Hughes?
Yeah, that's right. He had an organization called Mike Conrad and Associates, and I was one of the associates. 18 years old, and I was tailing starlets around Hollywood.
For Howard Hughes?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. So, okay, so then how did you go from that to climbing?
Well, I was climbing at the time.
Climbing fences? No, I'm just kidding.
No, I started climbing when I was very, very young, and I started business because the climbing equipment wasn't very good in those days. And I just have a knack for looking at almost anything and saying, you know, I can make it better. And I looked at the climbing tools and I said, you know, they're not very good and I can make a better one. And so I started out as a blacksmith.
You sold it from the back of your car, right?
And I sold it out of the back of my car just to support my habit. And I traveled around the country climbing and selling climbing gear.
At what point did you decide to go from Chouinard equipment and selling gear to making clothes?
I took a climbing trip to Scotland once, and in the winter, and I bought a rugby shirt on my way home, and you know, it was a real colorful thing, and this is, I think, early '60s, and I was wearing it as a climbing shirt because I thought it was made real rugged and had a collar so the climbing gear didn't cut into your neck, and so I started wearing it, and everybody said, "Wow, that's a cool shirt." And you know, in those days, men didn't wear any colorful clothes. I mean, sportswear was basically gray, sweatshirts and sweatpants. And here this thing had bright, bold colors, and so it started kind of a fashion thing. And that's how the lights came on. I figured, wow, I can make a lot more money doing this than being a blacksmith.
And so what year did you actually found Patagonia?
1973.
So how did you go from that, from doing your equipment and creating the clothes as well, perhaps, but how did you go from that to a full-blown incorporated business?
Oh, just one step at a time, very slowly, making a lot of mistakes. And plus, I had a friend, Doug Tompkins, and Susie Tompkins, who owned a Spree. And they helped us out when we trying to, make clothing and stuff, and finding suppliers, and I learned a lot from them on how to do it.
Yvon Chouinard, the founder of Patagonia. You're watching Ventures.